Hi. I guess I should give you guys a warning about this show tonight. First of all, right now for this part, if you have any problems with epileptic, any epileptic seizures or something like that, you may want to, close your eyes during this part. But uh, I was experimenting with the lighting in my room, and I'm sitting. I have a little desktop on my bed with my laptop. I like doing shows like this, and I have like a light ready to turn on, but it started to get dark, and I put these lights on flicker, and I thought, wow, what a trippy effect, right? What a trippy effect. I saw a couple people popping in, and they popped out. They're like, "What?" Well, I think maybe I should have a different kind of start when you talk about a show that has to do with, the title is basically David Shurter's collusion with a anti-Semite, a self-proclaimed. I gotta remember what my title is here again. Sorry, let me start over again. Bear with me. It's Friday night. I'm partying. We're gonna have a good time tonight. Trust me. Even though we're talking about really awful things, I promise you that this may be the most entertaining show that you've ever heard about a show called David Shurter's Collusion with a self-proclaimed anti-Semite white nationalist TravLeBlanc on X. Yes, that is the title of the show. And I did do a little bit of marketing on it actually. I put it up on X. I even put it up on my Facebook, because I think it's a great title and it's true. And it is true. And even if you don't know David Shurter or you don't know who Travis LeBlanc is and why at all this would have anything to do with like anti-Semitism and anybody being a white nationalist. And you might be wondering, like, Terry, why are you even talking about this? And how do you know anything about this topic? And why yesterday were you debating for a while on X with the guy who is a self-proclaimed anti-Semite, white nationalist? Well, that's a mouthful, isn't it? I mean, not just an anti-Semite, but also an anti-Semite and a white nationalist. I even have trouble, getting it out. Really, I even wonder, like, how does even anybody say that or identify that way on X proudly every day and actually feel okay about it? Like, I don't understand it. It was like how does his family react to that? I wonder that, we have a family member that is an anti-Semite white nationalist coming to Thanksgiving dinner. How do you interact with that family member when you may be diabolically opposed to everything that he represents? And sometimes in my mind, I think about people like that. I think about, like, how did they become that way, and why, and the entire viewpoint. Because there's the thing that gets me about it is, there's hate about it. There's hate to it. There's a yeah, I thought I'd maybe turn the light on. And what's really interesting now that it's like, let there be light. Oh, the way my light is, like if I put it over a head like this, it kind of looks like there's a divine projection under it, or there's like something, cosmic happening here. And you know what? Maybe there is something, cosmic happening here. There's something happening here. What it is exactly clear. All right. Well, you know what? Let's get this party started.
When I die and they lay me to rest, I'm gonna go to the place that's the sweetest bed. When I lay me down to die, I'm going up to the Twinkie in the, going on up to the Twinkie in the sky. That's where I'm gonna go when I die. I die. I'm gonna bite the snack that I love best. Prepare yourself, you know it's a must. Gotta have a Twinkie if you wanna trust. Just saying, Lordy, I'm so spread. Gonna meet the Twinkie in the sky. Never been a sinner. I've got a sweet tooth. I got an orange sponge cake, a creamy truth. So when I die, don't ask me why. I'm going G up to the Twinkie in the sky. Going on up to the Twinkie in the sky. That's where I'm gonna go when I die. When I die and they lay me to rest, I'm gonna snack on the Twinkie I love best.
When I die and they lay me to rest, I'm gonna go to the place that's the sweetest best.
He's a very Twinkie guy, the kind you don't take home to mother. He will never let your pants down once you get him off the streets now. He's a super twink, a super twink. He's super twinkie. Wow. Guy is pretty wild now. The guy's a super twink, the kind of guy you watch on OnlyFans. Yeah. The guy is pretty twinkie. He's a super twink. He's super twink. Wow. He's a very special guy, the kind of guy you want to know on OnlyFans. Now, donate to my PayPal because he's super twinkie now. He's a super twinkie, super twinkie. Yeah, yeah.
Woo! All right. All right. Welcome to Not My Rabbit Hole. And that song is actually specifically dedicated to David Shurter. And, you know, for the novice viewer on Not My Rabbit Hole, maybe I have no idea why you tuned in tonight. But let me just briefly tell you the players and the background to what we're going to be talking about for the rest of the show. Okay, so David Shurter is the guy that came out on the scene. He wrote a book back in 2012 called Rabbit Hole, which ironically, the name of my show is not My Rabbit Hole, and you can best believe that he is not my rabbit hole. And so David, claims to be a satanic ritual abuse survivor. And he has a YouTube channel. He has blended many conspiracies within his narrative of how he was abused as a child, which he does say happened from dreams that he had, which is really a running theme with people that do claim to be satanic ritual abuse survivors. It is based a lot of times on hypnotherapy or a repressed memory or something like this. And this show, I'm not here to argue whether or not that's valid or not. I do have an open mind to this particular topic, and I have also spent a lot of time researching it. And if you actually really know me and have known my history on certain shows like Revolution Radio and American Freedom Radio, I often covered this topic and had guests that talked about topics like this. For example, Max Spears, who is one of the evergreen, YouTube videos that I have uploaded here on Not My Rabbit Hole. People are watching that episode, listening to that interview that I did with him over and over and over again. So if you do want to listen to it, I will make sure that I have it sourced in this particular live stream later on. Okay, so you might be curious about why I am, talking about a guy named TravLeBlanc, who is a self-proclaimed white supremacist. And how does it relate to David Shurter? Well, David Shurter has been, harassing me and a bunch of other people. And I'm not really the only one. And always in David Shurter's narrative, David Shurter always says that, for example, one of the first videos that he ever really made of me was when he said, he called me a Nazi pedophile protector. And he threw me into a pile of other people that he was already talking about, which happens to be a guy named Daniel Dowd and Geo Farnsworth and Corey Daniel, who is also known as Phoenix Enigma. And then it grew into where I was, a part of the Isaac Cappy Dead Club, the Dead Isaac Cappy Club. That's it. It's almost like the name of a rock band. And so that went on, and everything's been going on and circulated. And then all of a sudden, a guy named Gabe Hoffman came into the mix. And maybe I should stop looking so ethereal when I'm talking. And Gabe Hoffman, maybe I guess I'm not going to be able to adjust that. It's going to be an ethereal night on me, but I might actually, change the changing patterns here. So let me go back. All right. So a guy named Gabe Hoffman, who has played out in, some of the stuff that are surrounding certain shows like Lift the Veil with Nathan Stoltman, Isaac Cappy, and there seems to have been a running theme of anti-Semitism in some of the reasons why certain people lost their media, their social media, the YouTube channels. And since they are known people, I will and those people do come out in this dialogue, because I will be showing some interaction between Travis LeBlanc and I on X, some of the things that were said between us, and some of the people's names that he mentioned have been called out and lost YouTube channels because they made anti-Semitic remarks. And one of those people is Denise Matau. So he does bring up Denise. He does bring up Denise in our conversation, which I find really interesting. He also mentions Thomas Schoenberger and shows me the court case of Thomas Schoenberger's court case as an argument to the reason somehow it's tied into Gabe Hoffman, and it symbolizes that Gabe Hoffman is guilty of the things that David Shurter is claiming. So what happened is, and I think what I'm going to do too is probably show a few videos to kind of just sort of like backtrack where this started at, because a few days ago, like 3 live streams ago, David Shurter started talking about how he had this big receipt, this big thing about Gabe Hoffman proving that he is a child trafficker, a satanic child trafficker, and all of the things that have been circulating, I would say, from this particular demographic, this particular, Isaac Cappy, lift the veil, kind of, discussion. And what's interesting is there has been certain people, and I've watched their videos, I could probably show it again, but there's videos like Nathan Stoltman saying that he's questioning whether there were 6 million Jews that died in the Holocaust. And it's coming, he's saying it. I mean, you can look at things like this and begin to wonder what's going on here. There are people that have had live streams, they have identities associated to some of this that identify themselves with symbols that mean anti-Semitism. And there is there's been like an underbelly of this in this discussion, even to the point of, when I did call it out that this might be what's going on, that there's a person over here that does media within this group who has a blackface thumbnail on their Rumble channel, and they have thumbnails where they're using the Confederate flag. I mean, these things have actually have been taking place within this group. And, when I've been called out on it, I've had this, kind of criticism. So here you have this character that basically went on a channel like Lift the Veil, which Nathan Stoltman does back David Shurter in what he does, to the point that denying that I was actually on his show when I actually replayed it from the Internet Archives to prove to everybody that it was real. And then, Thomas Schoenberger is still saying, oh yeah, I still think it's a deep fake. It's like, really, like nobody's going to really, stand on, is going to come clean about like any of this. But, and there's something I want to read before I go on to like, another song really quick. Because you know what, I'm going to show you some stuff. I want to have some fun with it. I'm not going to sit here and be like totally stressed out or angry at these people. For me right now, I am just telling you the information that I have looked at, the dialogue that I have had with certain people, and also some questions to David Shurter and to anybody else that is pushing this narrative in favor of David Shurter. So a few days ago, and a few live streams ago, David Shurter comes out and he says, yeah, this guy has this information. It's on my blog. How he goes, you need to check it out. He put, his finger always comes out. You need to check it out. His eyes are all big. You need to check it out. Go look at my blog, davidshurter.com. It's in the link. Blah, 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 blah. So, I went in, I looked at it, and lo and behold, this guy, I discover is an anti-Semite. And then you look on his X, and he says, I am an anti-Semite and, white nationalist. He even said that to me. I believe, he said that even to me in our dialogue between each other on X. And I'm like, wow. So here you have David Shurter sitting around like accusing me of being a Nazi pedophile sympathizer when he's actually taking information against a guy who is anti-Semitic. And, I would think, sometimes that goes along with like the Nazi party, right? I mean, I would think that, most people who are Nazis might be also anti-Semitic or have anti-Semitic sentiments. I'm sure he's not identifying himself with the Nazi party, but I'm thinking, okay, so if David Shurter is sitting there accusing people of being a Nazi satanic pedophile, then what is he doing taking half-assed looking clips and pictures of practically nothing that you can't make out? Like, all these guys ever do is like send these pictures and like a meme or whatever, with maybe it has a swastika on it, or I don't know, maybe it's got a witch symbol behind it, it's got some symbol with it, and they go, yeah, this is proof that, this proves that Gabe Hoffman is a satanic pedophile, and he's also Jewish, right? And he might be a witch, and he might be trans, and he might be an evil head fun guy, right? Like, it goes like on and on and on, and they do it to all of us. Apparently I'm partying in Vegas with barely legal people, with a place, and barely legal doesn't even really exist. So I know you guys are waiting for me to give you the goods of who these people are and what dialogue happened and what I think you guys should see that David Shurter and some people are actually associated with. Now, I know that some people might not want to believe this. Like, some people might not, they might say, well, what does that matter if the guy is, an anti-Semite, white nationalist? What if his, information about Gabe Hoffman is true? But you have to remember, when you're looking at evidence, you have to make sure that the evidence is actually a receipt that says who, what, why, where, and when. You want to make sure that you test it against, whether it's true or not. It doesn't really say what they're putting in the title. See, people frame pictures. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to show you some pictures really soon after this music break.
Deal. In a world of pain, a whisper starts to bloom of a secret chamber chasing away all gloom. They call them med beds, a futuristic dream. Med beds. Med so grand, but no real photos, just one giant hologram. They say they're coming, $1 billion plan. Don't show up in my scans, red beds. A promise so grand, but no real photos, just one giant hologram. They say they're coming, $1 billion plan. Don't show up in my scans. These say Tesla built them in a lab far away, or aliens brought them for a brighter new day. Hidden in tunnels by the deep state's own hand, hoarded by the wealthy across the whole land. QAnon voices on Telegram, they shout, Trump will release them, no reason to doubt. A benevolent military will roll out the plan, free for all citizens, every woman and man. Oh, med beds,
a promise so grand, but no real photos, just sand in your hand. The jumble of buzzwords, a child Star Trek fleet, quantum frequencies for all to be free. But if it sounds too good, it's a dangerous art, a mirage for the desperate, breaking every heart.
They talk of bad frequencies and good to restore, a science that simply makes no sense anymore. The FDA warns us of devices unproven, hucksters and scams, their true motives are woven, charging small fees for a bed that's not there, leaving folks empty, lost in despair. When real help is needed, they turn you away for a fictional cure that will never see day. Oh, med beds,
a promise so grand, but no real photos, just sand in your hand. The jumble of buzzwords, a child Star Trek fleet, quantum frequencies for all to be free. But if it sounds too good, it's a dangerous art, a mirage for the desperate, breaking every heart.
so look for the evidence, the truth in the light. Don't fall for the fantasy in the dark of the night. For true healing comes from science and care, not from a med bed floating in thin air. Med beds! 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 Med beds!
Okay, let's get down to business. It's like fun time is over. I've even put my glasses on to show you a few things. First of all, I want to show like who we're talking about. Like sometimes like when you think about, oh my God, you know, this guy is like an anti-Semite, white nationalist. Like what does he actually look like? And so I looked him up. Well, you know, I found a few things about him, and I'm going to show you a picture of him. Okay. This is him right here, This is TravLeBlanc. And, you know, it's kind of shocking to me because, like, I mean, he looks like he is the tiniest anti-Semite white supremacist that I've ever seen, really. And it kind of puts me in context. I'm like, oh my God, he's just a little short guy. He's just short. He's just tiny. He's just a tiny little guy who says that, oh yeah, I'm an anti-Semite. I'm a white supremacist. I'm also 5'4", you know? I'm even shorter than Tom Cruise. You know, it's like he is like really short. And it makes me wonder if like when David is it's talking about like the Mexican munchkin, you know, I thought, well, maybe it's him. But I'm like, wait a second, he's not Mexican because, you know, he's LeBlanc, you know, he's the white, you know, because it's the white in French. I mean, who knows if that's actually his real name. But and really, I think maybe, you know, the Mexican munchkin that David Shurter talks about is probably like DeFango. I think, right? Or maybe it's like his neighbor that's like, I don't know, picking him as flyers or something like that. Or yeah, I mean, like today, David Shurter actually, what did he say? Yeah, he said his share. He had this obscure picture. Oh, we'll look at it. We're gonna look at pictures now. I love looking at pictures. And we're gonna watch a few videos, and we're gonna do some commentary on the white supremacist. I mean, David Shurter and the white supremacist. So he's taking a picture with Jordan Peterson. And Jordan Peterson, I looked him up. I want to stop that share for a second. Oh, did I not share it before? Here, let me share it. No, wait, am I not showing him? Am I talking about this and not sharing it? Okay. Yeah, this is him. All right, this is what he looks like. He's the short guy. He's like the tiniest, like anti-Semite white supremacist. I think that is, in America. I mean, maybe he could be the shortest white supremacist in the entire world. This little tiny guy, like he's the guy that, like you don't want to have show up for Thanksgiving. Like, I'm like, oh God, is it going to be Travis, the white supremacist, like guy I'm sorry, he's a white nationalist. Is he going to come like to Thanksgiving? Like, is that, or I can't imagine that his entire family has the same sentiment as he does. But anyway, so he went to this. It's an event, and it's called Oh My God VP. And I went to the website. Let me. I'm going to stop the share. I'm going to put it on a different share. All right. So, hello. All right, and so I looked it up. All right. I love AI overview. I think it's pretty accurate. So, okay. So, Oh My God VP is a company that provides VIP, very important person, experiences for fans to get closer to celebrities, musicians, athletes, and other public figures. They specialize in organizing and managing these exclusive events, which can include meet and greets, photo opportunities, exclusive merchandise, and backstage access. These packages are designed to be interactive and are seamlessly integrated into an artist's tour or event schedule. And then it talks about all the different offers that it links stuff, and it gives you the different offers that you can get, right? So let's go back to the picture. All right, let's go back to the picture. Just a second. Go back to the picture. So he's at this event, right? He's at this event right here. And it's like a fan thing. He's a fanboy to this guy, Jordan Peterson, who, by the way, I noticed in the news lately because he's actually sick. He's been very sick. And he's quite a controversial character, right? But what's kind of, I think if he was going to see his hero, he should have considered putting long pants on. I really do. I just think that if you're going to take a photo op with, because it's a memorable moment for you with your hero, right? I think that you should actually, wear long pants, especially if you are representing the white nationalist party. Like, what is wrong with you? You should be a proud, well-dressed anti-Semite white nationalist. And if you're going to take a picture next to Jordan Peterson, so I looked him up. I'm not really super familiar with him. I looked him up the other day, but I want to go over to maybe I need to search it again. Let me put it in. All right, so I'm putting in who is Jordan Peterson. All right, so I want to share this with you. I mean, I know there's not a lot of people like watching right now. Matter of fact, there's people flicking in and out. They're like, what the hell is this? Or like, I think like everybody just doesn't want to look at this because they're actually afraid of like where the association of all of this goes. Because like this whole thing about David Shurter calling people pedos and this and that, and him like grifting for donations and this and that, and be doing this and whatever. But there's definitely a white supremacist association. And I want to talk about the association of people because, like, as I said earlier, like, does it really matter, like, who's connected to who and who associates to who? But when you think about the Jeffrey Epstein stuff, you realize that somebody is associating to somebody. Everybody wants to know what the list is. What had dinner with Jeffrey Epstein, who may be in contact, who might be on that list, who may have gotten money from Jeffrey Epstein. And so you're talking about people that have a belief system, that follow certain ideals, and also they identify as being part of the white nationalist party. Is there a connection with that? So Jordan Peterson, all right, and the overview is that he's a Canadian psychologist, author, and media commentator who gained widespread attention in the late 2010s for his cultural and political views. He identifies as a classical liberal and traditionalist, though is often described as conservative. Peter has flown stunt planes, raced boats. Okay, so like, what is he famous for? Okay, so he self-identifies as a classic liberal and traditionalist. Well, doesn't seem too controversial yet, right? One of the 12 rules, according to Jordan Peterson: stand up straight with your shoulders back, treat yourself like someone you're responsible for helping, make friends with people who want the best for you, compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to someone else is today, and do not let your children do anything that makes you dislike them. More items. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if we need more than that. That's kind of giving us an overview. Oops. I don't know, can you see that there? I'm kind of flipping around here. What are his main beliefs? The realm of Jordan Peterson's thought, truth, and honesty are not just moral choices, but existential necessities. He argues both in the psychological practice and public discourse, but speaking the truth is the bedrock of psychological health and societal well-being. So it makes me wonder, how twisted do you have to be that you think being an anti-Semite and a white nationalist is this, that it is, both, like, he argues both in his psychological practice, public discourse, that speaking the truth is the bedrock of psychological health and societal well-being. How is, like, representing white nationalism being part of that? How is how does that benefit the psychological health and societal well-being of our society? I'm just asking, because to me it doesn't seem like it. I don't think it does. Jordan Peterson's best-selling book is 12 Rules for Life: An Antidote to Chaos. Published in 2018, the self-help book became an international bestseller, topping lists in several countries and selling over 10 million copies worldwide. It offers the advice through essays on psychology, mythology, religion, and philosophy, focusing on embracing responsibility and facing suffering to find purpose. He sounds like a great guy. Don't compare yourself with other people. Compare yourself with who you were yesterday. What is the 7th rule of life? Smile and let go of what you can't control. In general, there are things within your control and things outside of your control. So, I mean, obviously, somewhere, right, What is the secret to inner peace? Here are a few tips to help you develop inner peace. Breathe deeply, stretch often, eat well, get enough sleep. Give yourself total quiet every day, even for just a few minutes. Spend a few of those quiet moments in the presence of your God. Face problems instead of trying to escape or deny them. This is very beautiful. Very beautiful. Well, I hope he gets well. I hope he gets, he heals. I think he's Canadian too, which is interesting. You always learn things. Hi, Aiken. How are you? Good evening. Welcome to Not My Rabbit Hole. Yeah, I was looking into Jordan Peterson because he went to this not David Shurter, but the guy Travis LeBlanc, that is who is a self-proclaimed anti-Semite and white nationalist who, allegedly, and David is like thinking or using it as evidence or some sort of source against Gabe Hoffman. Some random like weird pictures and memes and stuff like that, and saying that this guy, TravLeBlanc, that's what it was. Like if you go on David Shurter's website, you see it and everything. You see that it's his X account. And if you look into him, even on his X account, which we're going to show here in just a minute, you will see that he is definitely, he's everything that I'm saying that I say that he says he is. And I keep saying this, about David Shurter, what he's been doing is like, and a lot of people who are, who push this, it's a Nazi satanic pedophile ring. There's always a tinge of Nazism, or it's Jewish people because they don't believe in Jesus Christ. So there's these two dichotomies of these narratives that become echo chambers in conspiracy world, and people become weaponized. And things like someone like David Shurter, is he weaponized? Is he in on it? Does he know? Is he like, who is David Shurter? What is he actually really doing? But what he is doing, and I'm going to prove it right now, is that he is, colluding with, a guy who is, identifies as an anti-Semite white supremacist, even though, like, in his narrative, like, apparently I'm a Nazi. I don't know this guy. I know that now I've been communicating with him on X. He's been arguing with my ex because I made a few posts about this. Because, like, I pointed it out, really. Then, I started having, like, dialogue, and it was just shocking to me that he was actually even, like, an anti-Semite. I mean, like, who says that publicly? So here, I'm going to go to his most recent live streams. So 3 days ago, David Shurter starts with it. And like, again, I'm sourcing fair use, because, we are educating the public. He's in a poo-poo brain. Yes, he is. He is definitely. So David Shurter, here we go. Let's play a little bit of this.
Nice. Sorry, everyone. Just wanted to make sure I look normal. As normal as I can look. This is going to be a short live, but I'm making this live to go with the blog post that I just posted. Gabe Hoffman. The difference between you and I is that you're using Glenna to talk shit about me and say we're looking for shit on David Shurter, and you're putting your email address out there. Oh, we need to get shit on David Shurter. Anybody out there, you won't get a fucking email. You won't get any emails. However, I just want to point out, I just have to sit here and wait. You guys all need to check the link out in this description, because the stuff that I was sent on Gabe Hoffman will blow your freaking minds. And I put it all on my blog. All of it. He can argue about what happened 45 years ago when I was 13 till the cows come home. But the shit that I was sent, ooh, people need to search it to go look for it. And I posted it. I don't know the person who sent it to me. They sent it out to me out of the blue. As you can see from the screenshots, I did accepting their stuff because I wanted to thank them. But at the time when I got it, I didn't have a clue who this person was. Still don't. But I looked at some of the links. I think some of it is bullshit. I think that this whole thing that went between Gabe Hoffman and Thomas Schoenberger is bullshit controlled opposition stuff. I don't believe any of it. I think that it was all done for show so that they could say, oh, we're not together at all. You know, that's what I think. Denise Matthau, she's not a fucking sweet old lady. She's right along with Tara Joyce. They work together. I dealt with Denise Matthau when I was fucking dealing with Neil Brick at the SMART conferences in Connecticut. You know, again, it's all this child trafficking bullshit. And it needs to be exposed.
Okay, so let's stop that there. I mean, because I'm just giving you, I'm giving you the narrative, right? I'm giving you the setup here. So David Shurter says that, and he mentions certain names, which like actually ironically plays out in my dialogue with TravLeBlanc, the source that he's talking about to go check out on his blog. And just to kind of like, simplify this, a little bit here. Okay. Let's go to the blog. And, I want to show you just really quick. And when we get to those places where this, where Travis LeBlanc comes into play. Okay. I'm going to scroll fast here. This is all stuff that's being sent to him through is actually Thomas Schoenberger that communicated through. Now Thomas says it communicated through a third party and it wasn't really him or whatever, but somehow this got passed and published. So here's the guy. This is Traves. This is Trave, right? And he's saying, I'll give you the goods on Gabe Hoffman. So, David says, I don't know who this guy is, blah, blah, blah. So obviously it looks like the guy contacted through X. There's some sort of like, he's got to accept the message from him, right? So there's an acceptance going on here. Let me go back. All right. Let me make sure that you can see that. Okay, good. You can see that. Okay. And then just keep going. Oh, okay, yeah. I gotta. And then it says he's got something like some link. First, read this post about that intelligent asset child sex trafficker Rachel Siegel. It's a long post, but I'll tell you how she connects to Gabe Hoffman. So here's an obscure picture, just like the kind of stuff that David usually puts out or these people put out. You can't really tell what that means at all. And it says, anyway, besides this video that filmed by Thug Shacker at her apartment, we have an audio of admitting blah, 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 addicted to ketamine, blah, 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 Roman Nazi something. It's just like, what? Somehow that's supposed to connect to Gabe Hoffman. Then we have this symbol here. I guess this is her with like, a pentagram 764 club. So now, it's like, what does that mean, really? What does that mean? And then he says, right, TravLeBlanc, just look at this is definitely his ex, right? Not only is Jewish hedge fund manager and Keno casino financier Gabe Hoffman following the stock account of Elaine Miller, a member of a notorious pedophile cult 764, but Elaine Miller is following Gabe Hoffman back. What are Gabe and Elaine talking about to each other? Okay, so this was in September 25. Now, I haven't really, verified if that's even true or not. I really don't care because, like, again, we are talking about people following each other and associations to each other, right? So if these guys, if I shouldn't make a big deal about David Shurter's association to taking, he's obviously racist because he has to say Jewish hedge fund manager, not just a hedge fund manager and casino financier, Gabe Hoffman, but he has to point out that he's Jewish, okay, which is a bias. You have to say that is a bias. Hey, Orlando, come on up here. Yeah. So, and it goes on, all right. And this apparently, this dialogue, these things are supposed to be evidence of his involvement. Here's another one. Gabe Hoffman thinks it's funny to follow members of a child sex trafficking satanic cult because it totally pawns the Nazis. Okay. But he's closer to being a Nazi than Gabe Hoffman. And it makes no sense that a Jewish man would choose to become a part of a party that actually annihilated and tried to commit genocide on their own race. Like, tell me where the logic in that is. Can anybody raise their hand and give me an answer on that? Because it makes no sense. And then he mentions Nick Fuentes. And so we're talking about people that are associated to each other. Like I was talking earlier, he's taking a picture next to Jeffrey, Jordan Peterson. Does that mean that he upholds his ideals and he thinks his ideals matches his and that's twisted? Or does he somehow is he psycho and he actually resents those ideals? And so he's so psychotic that he actually went on fan day. He's a big fanboy. He's taking a picture next to him. I mean, how do we know really the psychological profile behind these people? I looked up the definition of, nationalism, right? So I'm going to bring it up again, or nationalist. All right. And the definition is a nationalist is an individual who is devoted to the interests of their nation and believes that it should be an independent, self-governing entity. The term has a complex history and can carry both positive and negative connotations depending on the context and the form of nationalism being discussed. Key characteristics of nationalists. Nationalists advocate for the interests of a particular nation, which can be defined by shared cultural traits like language, history, and ethnicity. Nationalist actions are based on the belief that their group benefits when unified by shared values and a common system. Okay, but think about it. White nationalism. All right, so what is a white nationalist? Let's just look it up. What is a white nationalist? A white nationalist is someone that believes that the white race is a distinct nation and advocates for its political and economic dominance, the survival of its culture, and the maintenance of a majority of historical white nations. Their ideologies often linked to white supremacy, and may include desires for white separatism, such as separate white ethno-state. Racial definition of identity. They define national identity by race, specifically for white people. White majority and dominance. A core belief is that white people should maintain their majority in countries and hold significant political and economic power. Preservation of white culture. They aim to preserve the cultures of historically white nations. White separation and ethno-states. Some white nationalists advocate for the creation of a separate all-white nations or territories. Okay, so yeah, so this guy is, definitely identifies as an anti-Semite white nationalists. I think that is, something to contemplate. So I'm going to take a quick break, and we're almost into the first hour of Not My Rabbit Hole. This is another song dedicated to David Shurter.
Butcher knife steps in, wearing my man bun, thinking I'm a G-man, dreaming the pig pen. Nobody has fun until I'm done. Go! Butcher knife stepson, wearing my man bun, another restraining order. Scum! Whoa! Whoa! 2, 3, 4, 5 hit whip. Butcher knife stepson, don't need gun. I will cycle pump you till you done another restraining order. Fun. Yeah, yeah. Butcher knife stepson, wearing my man bun. People say I'm scum, scum, scum. I'm done. Butcher knife stepson, thinking this is fun. Oh, butcher knife stepson, wearing my man bun. Thinking I'm a G-man, dreaming the pig pen. Nobody has fun until I'm done. Oh, butcher knife stepson, wearing my man bun. Another restraining orders. Go, go, go. Whoa. 2, 3, 4, 5 hit whip. Butcher knife stepson.
All right. That's just a really quick one there that I wanted to play for you, and I'm going to stop the share here, stop the screen share. All right, so one thing that I want to show you is also a few other things that David Shurter, how this built. I want to give you a little bit of a timeline of how this kind of built up. So this was like 3 days ago. So this was like 2 days ago. After I discovered that that TravLeBlanc was a white supremacist, not white supremacist, but an anti-Semite white nationalist. Okay, and I made some posts. I made some posts on my I don't know. I think I might have even done a live stream about it. Okay, I did a live stream about it. I did some posting, and then David now has something to say about it. All right, so hopefully you can see that there. Here he comes. Now.
Sorry about that. I'm gonna have lunch with you because I just made a pizza. I said yesterday that I wasn't going to do a live unless stuff happened. And of course, stuff happened.
Of course it did. I called your source out as being a anti-Semite white nationalist. That's what happened to you, David. And you know what's really interesting about right now is that after Pizzagate and everything else and the whole thing and the WikiLeaks and all of that, David Shurter is talking about this while eating the cheese pizza.
First of all, Doug, what?
If you're a conspiracy theorist, come on, let's get there, guys. Don't you see what I'm talking about?
Name do you want me to call you as Johnny Depp? You went on and on about how your name is Brian, but what you sent me today was named John. You can't keep your fucking name straight. What name do you want? God knows if I asked you about your pronouns. So the new game, the stuff that they sent me yesterday on Twitter.
It's not Twitter anymore. It's X. Okay. And I'm sure you think the owner's a Nazi. So let's continue.
I think it's valuable information.
It's valuable. How? How is it valuable? It doesn't even make sense.
But the dude is an anti-Semite. And that was the whole key to him sending me stuff. So I'm pretty sure that dude is directly connected to Gabe Hoffman.
Okay, so now David pushes it off. And this is how he got out of it. Because he knew, he's like, oh my God, I am sharing information on my blog from a guy who's an anti-Semite. How am I going to get out of this? Okay, now the guy is connected to Gabe Hoffman. which is a game that all of these guys play. Okay, no, it's not. He's Thomas Schoenberger. He's Gabe Hoffman. He's connected to Gabe Hoffman. Explain to me how a Jewish man who practices the Jewish faith is going to be involved with a guy who is an anti-Semite. Okay, and he's already posted about this. Like, why would that happen, David? Please explain that to me. Explain, like, it's not logical. You're blaming and pointing your finger about things that are not logical. I don't believe it. I'm not going to believe it. Not today, David.
Because they want this whole David Shurter is an anti-Semite. That's how they got Isaac Cappy stuff down.
Okay, nobody called you an anti-Semite, David, but I am criticizing you for taking an anti-Semite's information against Gabe Hoffman, who's probably obviously biased against Gabe Hoffman because he happens to be Jewish, and then you used it as a weapon against Gabe Hoffman. Like, you used it as like another one of your larks, or another one of your grifts to make people think that you're actually like, you know, a victim here. And then would they please give you a donation? Let me pray to God for a minute, ask for God's help, and then tell God how glorious I am in my prayer. And then let me ask you for a donation. Like, you know, this whole thing is getting really old right now, David Shurter.
They said that Isaac Cappy was an anti-Semite and got all.
He did make anti-Semitic remarks. He did get his Twitter down because he was an anti-Semite. Twitter wasn't against him personally, David. That is why he got his Twitter taken down. Like, you know, Denise Matau lost some of her channels because she made anti-Semitic remarks. This does happen on the internet. They do not have to like follow free speech constitutional laws, not companies that are on social media. They are a private company with different rules, and private companies, when you use their platform, can make those rules and take down the speech that targets a specific group of people, which is what your source does. In journalism, that means your source doesn't have credibility. That's the whole point there. And you should be really called out for, pushing this everybody's a Nazi thing and pointing fingers at targets like me and saying that, when you've actually aligned yourself with somebody for information to go after a Jewish man. And you should be held accountable for that, David.
All of his stuff down, and then he was dead right after. They killed him, right?
Does that make you an anti-Semite, or does that make you an opportunist? That remains to be seen.
After. I'm not anti-Semitic, and I blocked the dude. After his conversation today, stop engaging with your enemies. Fuck that. I've derived so much information fucking dealing with these motherfuckers, and the fact that Lucian Greaves and Tara Joyce are at the same time jumping on the fact that dude sent me, it's all a goddamn game. Because they want my shit down so they can take me out, so they can protect their fucking pedophile ring. That's how it works.
No, actually, it's not because we have a pedophile ring that we're protecting. There's no proof that we have a pedophile ring that they're protecting. I'm living in an apartment. I'm actually an MFA student getting a degree, a master's, an MFA in creative nonfiction, and I'm a journalist. I'm a senior journalist for the school paper, David. And you know what? I'm like, where have you ever heard a sound of a child anywhere near me? Like, seriously. Like, this is like absolutely ludicrous. Nobody's protecting anything, but we do want to protect, and we want to stop you from abusing I want you to stop abusing me. I want you to stop accusing me and saying things like, I wasn't on Lift the Veil, and then have, David, Thomas Schoenberger back you up. Oh yeah, it's a freaking deep state, and have all this clown shit. When I was on Lift the Veil, it is provable. Nathan Stillman denied it. And David Shurter is like continuing to abuse. There's Gabe Hoffman, who's been here a long time, in conversations about what down on Lift the Veil and Isaac Cappy and everything else. You know what? The fact of the matter is Isaac Cappy unalived himself. All right, that is the official record. I think anybody else who's like trying to say anything else happened other than what that was, I think that you should be held accountable and be called a conspiracy theorist. And that, you most likely are trying to grift money off of people. And, I'm just going to go ahead and say this. And what's interesting is that there is this underbelly of anti-Semitism. And, actually, Thomas Schoenberger is, the guy who defended Thomas Schoenberger on X. He brought up like Denise Matow in his argument against me because he found out like what I was saying about him. And, and before we, start on that, I actually would like to show, like what this guy, like here's an interview. I found an interview on YouTube about him. Let me get on my history here. That I'd like to share. Find it here. Shoot, I look at a lot of things in a day. When did I find this? No, it wouldn't be in here. Wait just a second. I might see it here in a minute. That one. Maybe it didn't save in my history. There's that. Here it is. I found it. So this is the guy. All right. This is TravLeBlanc. And I gotta tell you, I'm sorry, but well, you'll see. This is him. He is on the Keith and the Girl show.
On Tinder yesterday.
And this was like 12 years ago. All right. Are you ready? Here we go.
You're on Tinder now?
Yeah. Oh, I do it all, but I have never actually met anyone on this.
That's the heterosexual grinder.
Heterosexual
that no one has
grinder.
sex off of?
People have sex off of it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Someone said they met they're a couple now. I don't know, whatever.
Oh,
but people have been married off of Grindr.
They get married off of Grinder?
Yeah, because
that's him. This is him, man. This is him. Okay.
do you meet and you hit it off? I guess why not? You're fucking. Maybe someone says something like
I'd
funny,
say-
and they're like, "Oh, I also have an Afghan on my couch." So on Tinder, this guy straight off the bat, I say he looks good. He says I look good. First message out the gate: are you okay with play choking?
That's the first message?
First message.
That's him. Okay. That is the anti-Semite white nationalist right there. Wow. That's the guy who is supplying. He backs Thomas Schoenberger. Okay, like here, like let's. I feel like I'm ready to go to X. Wait, let me go to my own account here. And it went on for a while, so I'm going to try to find it from like when it started. All right, so let me show you. Like let me start going to like my Twitter. So I posted this. I said David Shurter is using an anti-Semite TravLeBlanc as a legitimate source against Gabe Hoffman when clearly he is an anti-Semite against Jewish people. It is hypocritical for Shurter since he accuses his targets of being Nazi pedos and alt-right. So here's his pin post. If some misfortune should befall me in the near future, it will most likely have something to do with my ex-girlfriend Kelly Morgan Summers having faked her death, and it will involve Jews. Okay. So here he's saying if some okay, so and then this is like his just a Trav trying to make it his way through not Trav's world, the only non-fed and right-wing internet. Anyway, okay, so all right, so I shared that. I posted this, David Shurter eating pizza. I said, David Shurter eats pizza, accusing others of being a Nazi satanic pedophiles. You can't make this shit up. Okay. Then, here, so just a Trav trying to make his way in a not Trav's world, the only non-fed on right-wing internet. Okay, that's what it says. So here's where it starts. I post that. Where is it? Maybe I have to go to the replies. I hope he didn't take it down. It's like, I'm going to show your stuff. And he like all of a sudden deletes all of it. Here we go. All right. Yeah. Here it is. Oh, yeah. This is all of it. I hope you can see it. I'm just scrolling down to like the bottom of it. Oh, yeah. I mean, it went on. Okay, so here we go. Let me see. I want to make sure you see this. I think that's it. Yeah. Okay, so I say LeBlanc means the white in French. And here he goes, correct. This is what he says. This is what he says to me on October 8th in response. I say, I'm unsatisfied with your evidence and being biased against Jewish people. The fact that you openly claim that you are a white nationalist suggests that you may be motivated to smear Gabe Hoffman's reputation on the sole basis that he is Jewish. He says, correct. I am an anti-Semite white nationalist. However, if Jewish satanic pedos and child sex traffickers had infiltrated the white nationalist community, you would expect someone from that community, for a researcher to it, to be the first person to notice it. N'est-ce pas? And then I'm replying. He says, no, I've talked to Denise and I'm well aware that she has issues. But this begs the question, why does Gabe Hoffman feel the need to bully the mentally ill? These are people who pose the actual threat to him whatsoever. And these people pose no actual threat to him whatsoever. And he's threatening lawsuits to destroy him. It's sadism. I said, oh, you spoke to Denise Matau, the anti-Semite who called my job to smear me as grooming students, who was written up by campus police and sent a cease and desist by the college. She also telephone harassed me, but now you think drumming up a mental illness excuse is going to dismiss her. Nice try. You're only revealing who you are and digging yourself further into the hole. And then he says, Gabe Hoffman, okay, where you would be within your rights to sue her for that. Gabe Hoffman, a 9-figure hedge fund manager, ordered that Denise is to go through groveling humiliation ritual or else face destruction because she called him a filthy Jew. And then I said, he should have called her out as well. Exhibiting hate speech against a protected group on social media is not allowed across the board. She absolutely deserved to be removed from the platforms that deleted her accounts. Then he says, And he says, you don't find anything. Oh, I don't know, psychotic about the script that Gabe wanted her to see. And I said, where's your proof that those lawyers dropped Hoffman for this? You need to prove your claims, otherwise this is hearsay. And then I said, so he's saying that his basically, and I can't show all of it because you know how like X is, but he said something like, I'm responding to the fact that he said something about like that Gabe Hoffman dropped a lawsuit against him. His lawyer automatically dropped him because of his abuse towards Denise Mattel. All right. And then he says, and I said, prove your claim or zip it. And then he says, don't you find anything? Oh, I don't know, psychotic about the script that Gabe wanted her to read. And then, he sends me, I said, what's your proof? And he sends me like track Mirage. All right. He sends me track Mirage. And I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Like, this is your proof that this happened, that Gabe, a lawyer completely dropped his lawsuit because he was going to humiliate, Denise Mattel for saying anti-Semitic remarks against him. So I say, I laugh, LOL, Track Mirage. This is totally biased conspiracy blog. This source lacks credibility. How lame and disappointing. Try again, Mr. White nationalist. Okay, so then let me click onto this. All right, I'm going to show you. I don't know if you can see that. I might have to I'm going to have to reshare it. Hold on. I'm going to get back to that. Okay, and I'm going to share. Here's what he's sharing me. This is his receipt to our argument. And what is it about? Gabe Hoffman versus Thomas Schoenberger, document 7478, case management plan withdrawal of Picasio as attorney. On August 27, 2024, September 1, September 7, September 4, 2021, document 747576, 7778. Were filed respectively in the 15th Judicial Circuit in and for Palm Beach County, Florida, in the Gabe Hoffman versus Tom Schoenberger lawsuit. And so it shows these different dockets, and that's supposed to mean something. That's supposed to show me that what Gabe Hoffman did and how, and apparently like his attorney like dropped his case against Tom Schoenberger over, I suppose. All right. So let us, go back to what's happening on X. So he gives me this like Gabe Hoffman, Leper Mirage shit. And then I said, you heard blah, blah, blah. We all hear things. It doesn't make them facts. You don't know anything about real reporting, do you? I'm being a snob, right? Which I can be. I have a degree. And he says, so definitely one lawyer dropped Gabe, citing irreconcilable difference, and I've heard that his law firm dropped him after the Denise Mattel letter. If that is true, that would be too. And so I said it was hearsay, and I said I'm inclined to stop a stupid argument with you because you don't have a legitimate one to give time to. I have articles to write because I am a working journalist, and it's evident from our conversation that you aren't. And I did. Okay, I'm being honest with him, and he says. And then he shows me more, and I'm commenting, still hearsay. No one who made it through law school would come out of it with the belief that calling someone a filthy Jew met the legal parameters of defamation. It might be hurtful, it might be unkind, but it's absurd to suggest it's defamation by law. I think Gabe wrote the letter, and I said, still hearsay, an opinion. You have proof of nothing. And then I kept saying it, like he goes, if he has definitely been dropped by one lawyer, I'm inclined to give the benefit of the doubt that claims that he's been dropped by more than one. The letter to Denise contains many errors of law that cannot even paralegal would make. And I'm saying you are not talking in facts. You think this and you think that. It means nothing. And then he says, this pertains to withdrawal of the lawsuit with Thomas Schoenberger, not Denise Mattel. Yeah, so he shows me. So I say, I finally looked at the tracking Mirage, and I said this pertains to withdrawal of the lawsuit with Thomas Schoenberger, not Denise Mattel, and it does not give the reason why. What you are misleading this argument. Are you defending Schoenberger or Mattel? See? And then he says, allegedly, Gabe Hoffman's law firm dropped him, and after that email to Denise, which makes one wonder if Gabe Hoffman wrote it himself. I know he's been accused of impersonating lawyers several times. Apparently now Gabe Hoffman is a lawyer impersonator, not just like a hedge fund manager and a Nazi satanic pedo, even though he's a Jewish man. He's also impersonating being a lawyer. Wow, Gabe Hoffman is really able to multitask. So anyway, it goes on. It has multiple lawyers drop him, citing irreconcilable differences. And I said, your sources do not address to prove your claims here. My question is, why is a white nationalist defending Thomas Schoenberger? Your white knighting isn't helping his credibility with his lawsuit against Professor Dilley and MSU. Yes, I said it. On X, I wrote it. So fucking sue me, Thomas Schoenberger. So anyway, he says, and I said, this document shows Gabe Hoffman dropping the case with Thomas Schoenberger. It has nothing to do with Denise Mantel, and it does not provide the reason why the case was dropped. Big deal. This means nothing. So I don't know if I click onto it, if you're going to be able to see it. But yeah, okay, good. So that he's showing me this. Okay, big deal. This means nothing. It has nothing to do with Denise. Okay. So then he says, I have no idea who Thomas Schoenberger is. Now he has no idea who Thomas Schoenberger is. But he's sharing Thomas Schoenberger's lawsuit as a receipt in his argument about Denise to me. And I don't really even know now at this point why Denise Mantel was even in the fucking conversation, but now she is. Because I'm really talking about David Shurter and the fact that David Shurter's trying to use a white supremacist, memes or, like post conversations about people that might be linked together as proof to David Shurter that Gabe Hoffman is a Nazi satanic child trafficker, even though he's Jewish. All right? And I'm saying, why is David Shurter, who calls everybody else Nazis and satanic child traffickers, including like Michael Aquino and everybody else, why is he taking information from an anti-Semite white nationalist? I find this to be very interesting, hence I'm doing a live stream. So, he says, I have no idea who Tom Schoenberger is. Bullshit! You just, if you don't know who he is, why the fuck do you have his lawsuit between Gabe Hoffman? I personally find the QAnon Pizzagate scene to be mostly crank and generally unserious. I just saw someone who also has some issues with Mr. Hoffman and decided to share my research with him. All right, so then he starts calling me a liar. You'd be better off saying the document is fake than lying about what you're saying like you're doing. People can read what it says. Now it's too late for you to change strategy because you're already showing yourself to be a liar. He calls me a liar. He says I'm gaslighting him. Then he brings this one, okay? So let's look at this. Okay, there's a second example of lawyer dropping Gabe Hoffman for irreconcilable difference. Only 6 months earlier, in addition to Jim Pisaccio, Gabe Hoffman had another lawyer named Kelly Cronenberg drop him client signing Eric. So here's this. I read it. It's nothing of what he says. All right, but if you want to go back and look at it and screenshot it, knock yourself out. I still want to go over it, but it's not what he says it is. Okay. It's him leaving the case. He's dropping the case. This is, I'm showing this. This is his conversation to Laura Loomer. And this is where David ended up talking about Laura Loomer today. This is what this is based on. David Shurter says he doesn't watch anything that I'm doing or pay attention to any tweets or anything like that. But this is where, I don't know why he's talking about Laura Loomer. He talked about Laura Loomer today. I think this is why. So here's what happened between Laura Loomer and Latrick. Because it was all Jews. And then she says, how come we don't have information about who was in the Discord channel Charlie Cook's assassin was in? And he says, she says, Discord is the same platform the Butler assassin was communicating with people. And then he says, I'm not blaming Israel. I'm blaming the entire Jewish race. And then she says, if you're posting that Charlie Cook was assassinated by Israel, you have a mental illness. It's called paranoid schizophrenia. So this is a conversation that he's having with Laura Loomer. Here's some more stuff. All right. And that's him with Jordan Peterson. And I say, you're relatively a tiny white nationalist, aren't you? A tiny little anti-Semite. Oh my God. Yeah, he is, ladies and gentlemen, the tiniest anti-Semite white nationalist right now in America. I really believe it. I totally believe it. I think they should give him the award. And, you know, and then he gives me this. Denise Matau. He gives me this. He gives me this. He goes, Kelly Cronenberger is the name of the lawyer on the letter sent to Denise Matau. So it's true that the law firm that supposedly sent Denise Matau that letter dropped Gabe Hoffman as a client. And so, you know, here it is. Dear Miss Matau, I'm an attorney with Kelly Cronenberg representing Gabe Hoffman. On June 4th, 2020, you have made a YouTube video in which you directed anti-Semitic defamation against my client, Mr. Gabe Hoffman. The video has been downloaded and archived for preservation of evidence. At approximately 13:30 of your video, you said Mr. Hoffman doesn't listen to Shiksas. Shiksas don't care what the filthy Jew thinks. The case involves all of America, which is not Jewish, and also alleged that he doesn't care about America. If you wish to avoid being sued for defamation, we demand you do the following immediately. Delete the YouTube video in which you were defaming Mr. Hoffman. Delete the tweet you posted on your Twitter account promoting the video. Immediately created a standalone video in which you formally retract your remarks and issue a public apology to Mr. Hoffman. The video should be titled Apology to Gabe Hoffman for my defamation and anti-Semitism directed at him. The video should be posted on Twitter account and will remain in public on your YouTube channel. In the description of the video on your YouTube channel, the following statement should appear. I, Denise Matau, am entering my apology to Mr. Gabe Hoffman into the public domain. At such, I hereby waive all copyrights and claims in this video. Others may copy and archive or re-upload this video as they may wish. And then I must read this. This is Denise Mattel, Truth Convoy on YouTube, at Truth on Twitter. On June 4th, 2020, I created a video on my YouTube channel in which I made knowingly false, defamatory, and anti-Semitic remarks concerning Mr. Gabe Hoffman. I was wrong, and I am sorry. Mr. Hoffman could have taken me to court for these knowingly false, defamatory, and anti-Semitic remarks, and he would have won a judgment against me. Moreover, my horrible remarks would have been memorialized for the world to see in the public record in court documents. I want to thank Mr. Hoffman for choosing to show compassion towards me. Mr. Hoffman had every right to take me to court, but he still chose not to do so. Instead of suing me, Mr. Hoffman showed compassion towards me and offered me the option of issuing a formal public retraction and apology. His attorneys contacted me and I agreed to make this video. I am currently retired, living on fixed income, and would have suffered a serious emotional financial impact from being sued successfully for defamation by Hoffman. I made false, defamatory, and it goes on. I guess that's what they asked. And this guy, because he is, an anti-Semite white nationalist, thinks that this is ritual and abuse to Denise Matau. That's his rationale. So, he says, he's accusing, again, Gabe Hoffman. I said, where's his arrest records? He's saying he was arrested, and this is me. I restreamed it. I restreamed David Shurter uses an anti-Semite as a source against Gabe Hoffman, and I guess the last thing I'm gonna kind of show you tonight is another David's most recent video now about everything, and I feel like I just want to do a little bit of commentary on that. I also want to share something that maybe it's time to take a really quick break and move on. Before I do that, I want to share something that Seren wrote to me today on a post that I said this is not a deep fake proof I was on Lift the Veil, because Thomas Schoenberg's telling me that I'm still on Lift the Veil. I was never on Lift the Veil. And I find it really interesting that this guy Trav is denying that he knows Thomas Schoenberger, but he's bringing Thomas Schoenberger into the lawsuit as a receipt in our argument, or a source in our argument. I shouldn't say receipt, because he's just basically the babbling of a neo-Nazi fascist. I'm not, fascist is not the right word. A neo-Nazi, baby. Basically, this guy is self-proclaimed anti-Semite, white nationalist. So, Seren says, I don't think they care about people. She's talking about Thomas Schoenberger and everybody. I'm talking about Lift the Veil. I'm talking about David, them being accountable for the things that they say. And she says, I don't think they care about people, just themselves. So don't worry about it. Everyone knows who's telling the truth. And these people will never acknowledge it. Never. Pray for some kind of peace in your heart. Soon you won't care what they say. I had to learn this the hard way. Now I don't care what anyone claims or says about me. It's liberating. And in that thought, let me pick out a song to play. What should I play? I kind of feel like playing, and then because of that feeling of that and what she said, I kind of feel like playing something upbeat. And this was I wrote this thinking about Max Spears. God rest his soul.
Born in the shadows of Canterbury skies, eyes wide open to invisible lies. He spoke of men made into machines of gods in suits and laboratory dream. You got to believe that Earth is the heart. You got to believe that Earth is the heart. You got to believe that Earth is the heart. You got to believe that Earth is the heart. Oh, oh, oh,
All right. And that's a song that I made, and it's on my Astral record 6890 on suno.com. And that is, I wrote that with Max Spears in mind. So, okay, so I want to show just one last thing about David Shurter. Here we go. This is from today, because I love seeing him unravel. I'm sorry, but it is very entertaining. Because do you think, I entertain you? Yeah, hell yes, David, you entertain us. And really, if anybody wants to like have a gold mine of insanity or LARPing that actually really takes place, and on YouTube or just like on the internet in general, let's like look at David. So okay, here we go. David, like this is the name of it, right? Now he's taking some obscure picture of some guy at a party, probably his family party, and like and you can't even tell who's over here. I had to tweak. I took a picture of the snapshot and then I had to readjust it because it's a vertical shot that he decided to place it sideways because you can't really tell what it is. And if you have bad eyesight, you actually have to put your glasses on trying to figure out what it is. And it says, "Ooh, and only 137 views. Wow, nobody's really impressed now, David, are they?" David Shurter live. This whole Shelby County, Iowa sheriff partying with a 15-year-old is another example. So now he's going to ignore the white supremacist, the fact that he used somebody who's a white nationalist, anti-Semite as a receipt against Gabe Hoffman. Now he's going to take some obscure picture, just like his friend takes obscure pictures for Gabe Hoffman, and make it look like his sheriff is now some of the sheriff department, whoever this guy is. He's not, you don't even know who he is now giving alcohol to a 15-year-old. So here we go.
Short live. Wait. Shit, all I have to do is sit in my house and chaos finds me. The whole video of that sheriff and his wife drinking and partying with the 15-year-old girl, and the fact that it's been reported to Shelby County, Iowa Sheriff Neil Gross, and he's done nothing, and it has pissed people off, is just yet another example of what I'm saying about the chaos and lawlessness that is happening around here. It's just another example. And of course it came to me because people in town seem to look at me as like a crusader and people are sick of it. I was talking to a friend of mine and said, it sucks because it's like I'm Batman without the anonymity and without the fucking money.
Okay, all right. Like, no, David, you're not like like you're not like Batman. Okay, you're not. And you're not, right? And everybody knows that Batman is Bruce Wayne. So, he doesn't really have anonymity either. All right, David, you do not compare yourself to a superhero. All right, not today.
My position on this sucks, but it's just another example of the chaos that's going on out here, and the laissez-faire bullshit that's happening on a continuous basis. Johnny Dub, who I still believe, despite all of his bullshit, is Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple. You can go read the exchange. But it is interesting, after he got my reply, he sent me two things trying to associate Isaac Cappy and what Isaac Cappy was saying with me. And I have said repeatedly, when the work that Isaac Cappy and I did was more him drilling me and finding out about all of my stuff and the shit I knew about Michael Aquino and the stuff that I went through as a kid. And his world didn't seem real to me because I'm not an actor hanging out with, that's the reason why they're always connotating me with shit. Whatever Isaac Cappy was saying, I have my own issues with Gabe Hoffman. I had my own issues.
Here we go. He's going to focus on Gabe Hoffman.
With Gabe Hoffman before Isaac Cappy and Fiona Barnett had issues with Gabe Hoffman. We fought before. It's not like the first time I've stood up to him. It's not. It's just this time I'm sick of everything. But it's because of the child trafficking. It has nothing to do with someone's religious affiliation. Laura Loomer. They keep trying to just, I don't know what fucking Isaac was saying, but let me tell
See, so why is he talking about Laura Loomer? Well, it was because I was showing those receipts, all right? And the person that he's using as a source in his argument against Gabe Hoffman was arguing and giving anti-Jewish sentiments with Laura Loomer. And watch how David trashes Laura Loomer. Now, can you consider this to be him agreeing and backing and siding with his white nationalist informant?
tell you what my issue with Laura Loomer is. I find it disconcerting that that woman has such influence and power over politics in America, and yet she's not an elected official. And I do not think that that woman is psychologically well. And the reason why I say that is, have you seen what the fuck she's done to her face? All of that plastic surgery, you know, I started thinking about it and thought, all this whole group will go on and on and on about transsexuals while they cut and stretch and pluck and add to their faces. They don't even look normal anymore. I don't think Laura Loomer looks normal. And she's done that to herself. That's not natural. It's not like she was born with it. She's had so much plastic surgery done. And you know, when she looks in the mirror, she doesn't like what she sees, you know? And that's the issue that I have with Laura Loomer. It has nothing to do with her religious affiliation. But I think that a woman who is unhealthy has an undue amount of influence on things. And I don't necessarily think that's a good thing, you know?
All right. So he knows what she thinks and what women should do. And he's going to talk about her plastic surgery. Why is he even talking about her at all? Well, because I had a conversation with, Mr. TravLeBlanc, or I shared that meme about it. I shared it around, and, now he's going to make a big deal about it. So I want to do something experimental. Humor me here. Okay. All right. Humor me. All right, I'm going to go back, and I'm going to make my my lights flicker again. Uh-oh. Wait, is it still going? Okay, hold on. Okay. All right, so if you can't handle this part, the cat wanted to get in here. All right, I want to bring this higher. All right, so can't handle this part. You're not gonna be able to handle it, right? So I'm gonna bring the light down a little. I'll make it more mystical. Woo! All right, so and now I'm gonna do an experimental expression with one of my songs that I made about David Shurter, and so I guess maybe I should go back up to here and find this song. Here, okay, it's called Drive By, okay? And it's about, David Shurter's stalking, okay? It's about his stalking, so I don't know, maybe this might be the music video for the song. Are you ready? It's totally improv. All right, let's do this.
Driving by your house, 'cause she won't respond to my emails. She dwells in my imagination and paranoia gestation of the unmentionable. As I drive by her house, I look on. I'm going berserk 'cause I'm just like
Captain Kirk. By her house I look and I'm going berserk 'cause I'm just like Captain Kirk.
Butcher knife steps in, wearing my man bun, thinking I'm a G-man, dreaming the pen. Nobody has fun until I'm done.
All right. Well, I just wanted to fool around. And so yeah, clip that, bitches.
Laughing loud all for the love, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. He ain't no Saint Germain, no crown, no name. He plays the game sharp as a flame. Who's to blame for the stolen fame? A shadow dance in the devil's frame. Go in the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on a stripper pole. Laughing loud all for the love, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. City lights and sirens scream, truth and lies blend like a dream. Wicked smiles, a clever scheme, chasing gold in the neon gleam. Go in the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud all for the love, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. Fast, can't find the ground. Echoes of chaos all around. You chose this dance, this mad parade, but not every choice gets accolades. Go in the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud all for the lows, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. Spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud all for the lows, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. City lights and sirens scream, truth and lies blend like a dream. Wicked smiles, a clever scheme, chasing gold in the neon gleam. Going down the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud all for the lows, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole.